No matter the role, the work of an Ingalls shipbuilder is both complex and inspiring. For over 86 years, the world-class shipbuilders at Ingalls Shipbuilding have designed, built, and maintained amphibious ships and destroyers for the U.S. Navy. Welcome to Inside Ingalls, a podcast that dives deep into the stories and perspectives of those who shape our legacy. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Inside Ingalls. Today, we're going to be talking about all things heavy weather. So you know about Ingalls Shipbuilding by now and our huge campus, 800 acres of success. But what goes into really preparing, during hurricane season, preparing our shipbuilders and our facilities for a storm? So we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes look of everything that goes into that. And who better to talk about it than Justin McArthur? Justin, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Justin, tell us a little bit about your role.
So I'm the Director of Facilities and Maintenance and also serve as the Heavy Weather Director.
So your job is basically year-round important.
Year-round important, but exceptionally important during the months of June through November during hurricane season.
When we're out here, we always say shipbuilding is a team sport, but it's a community out here too. Like, check on your people, but also let them know where you are. I don't think a lot of people understand how many people, you're the face of our heavy weather, right? We go to you when we need to understand what the plan is. But do you know how many people are actually involved? Like, we did the drill last month. How many people were actually involved in that?
So, it's the drill involved every major functional area of the shipyard. It also involved the customer. It also involved the Port of Pascagoula, Jackson County EOC. We cast a wide net because it takes so many people to execute the plan successfully. And it's down to the individual contributor level. So while we can't reach to each individual contributor, each drill, we do hit those functional leads, and we try to bend the capacity of their ability to prepare for a storm. So we throw scenarios that are at the brink of what's possible to prepare for, to see what kind of feedback we get, to see what kind of lessons learned we get, and see where our weak spots are to where we can better prepare.
Before we started rolling, you and I were talking about how we can't believe it's, 20 years since Katrina happened. And I know that a lot of our shipbuilders still carry that with them too. And, we've been asking people to send in their stories or if they have any, footage, and you've sent us a lot of those things too. But going through those experiences and that shared, again, experience together, what is one thing, like today, shipbuilders are listening to this and you can say, okay, today, here's one thing that you can do to be ready for when the storm comes. Go do this today.
Yes, as important as it is for us to have a plan, it's important for each individual shipbuilder to have their own individual plan, to communicate what that plan is with their loved ones, to have the supplies needed. They need to expect to have long durations without power, without communications, to let their loved ones know where they are and what their plan was and how they can be contacted. Insurance checkups, downloading the Ingalls Connect app to where you can get the most up-to-date information on what's going on with the shipyard and the resumption of production is super important. So, you've got to have your own personal plan in order to be successful at home, just like we have to have our plan to be successful in the shipyard. Preparation really never ends. We're in a constant state of refinement. We have a plan, we have a great plan, but it's always incorporating those lessons learned from previous storms. We schedule and execute heavy weather drills annually. This is a multi-week process where we go really test the system. We try to build that muscle memory of what we need to do and what we can do better. And then we turn around and we refine that into the plan. So the preparation never ends. It's just a never-ending cycle of making ourselves better and improving the plan.
The hurricane kickoff meetings that you have, I know we just went through a drill last month, but it really just goes to show, we start preparing again well before hurricane season even starts. Having those conversations with people.
Yeah, so who knows better the actions they need to prepare than those functional leaders? So we do a lot of solicitations to each functional group to see, what are your best practices? What do we need to capture in a document that we can make the best plan available? So we do a lot of solicitations, we do a lot of practice, we do quarterly reviews, we refine the heavy weather manual annually, we incorporate all the lessons learned from the heavy weather drills, suggestions from others, and industry leaders' best practices.
And, when you were talking about really leaning on those leaders and talking about our people, when it comes to protecting our people our ships and our facilities, that requires, how you're describing, a lot of coordination. How does teamwork across departments help ensure we're ready to respond quickly and safely when severe weather approaches?
Yeah, so we talked about the plan, and the plan is only half the battle. The successful execution of the plan is where teamwork really plays the role. And we are a regional leader in economic development. We are super important to the national defense of the nation.
Right.
The better the plan and the better execution of the plan, it just gives us the agility to get back in action quicker. So it helps with the recovery phase, and without that teamwork, it will delay the recovery back to full production.
And speaking of teamwork, can you walk us through what happens at the shipyard once a storm is forecasted and how we shift into action to secure the yard and care for our people?
Yeah, so the great thing about our plan is it provides the flexibility for just about any scenario. During hurricane season, we have forecasts and we have forecasted site conditions, but we not only prepare to the forecasted site conditions, but we also prepare to what potentially could occur. What is the potential of the storm, and what are the outlying scenarios that could possibly happen to catch us off guard.
On that note, we know not everybody's job's the same. You talked about, especially during, June and December, you are back to back, 24/7. So how do we ensure that every shipbuilder, no matter their role, feels confident in what we do before, during, and after a storm?
Yeah, so the successful execution of the plan is just a culmination of all the individual actions from every organization. So having familiarity with the plan and knowing how their actions play into the larger picture is super important. So, I encourage everyone to be as familiar as they can with their portion of the plan. Because like I said, each one of those individual actions, it adds to become successful completion of our plan.
Right. So we're all working together and on the same page. And, you talked about our customer and our community partners too. When they better understand our plan, it helps them plan better too. And when we understand what they have going on and keeping those networks, togetherness and really working together, I think it's what makes the difference in having people feel that sense of security and understanding, when I'm in Ingalls, I know that my safety is going to come first. And I know that there's a team of people behind me that support this and have a plan for it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing that's going to catch anyone off guard in the event that there is something terrible, like another Katrina. Still can't believe it was 20 years ago, but I really do want to take a moment to thank you and the entire heavy weather team for all the research that goes into it, the drills you put together, the weeks and weeks of work that goes down into it. But thank you for keeping our facilities and especially our shipbuilders safe with the knowledge that you pass down and then preparing us for any instance that may come our way.
Thank you.
Of course. Is there anything else you wanted to add?
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure, like Justin said, download the Ingalls Connect app today. We have heavy weather resources on there to keep you and your loved ones safe. We'll see you on the next one.